Oh, hey, how's it going, everybody? We're live. Yeah, I know, no song. Running a little behind today. But Ben, sing like a fool.
I mean, sing like the song like a fool, or
The
sing like a
curls.
fool?
Well, I mean,
Like a fool.
There you go. There's your song, live stream listeners. All right, your Ben Joravsky show for Friday, April 17th is just moments away. But before we get into that, we got to thank the following unions for sponsoring this podcast. Unions like the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, Local 126 and District 8. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 9 are sponsors, as well as the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150. Thanks, unions, for sponsoring this program. Keep doing that. And, of course, today's Ben Joravsky Show is brought to you by our good friends at the Chicago Federation of Labor. Benny J, Snowy Friday, give us a song of the day.
I'll give you a nice song. A nice song that was on my mind. I'm going to be talking about it later. It's a beautiful morning. Da, woo, woo.
The Ben Joravsky Show starts now. Wait, hold on. Starts now.
Yeah.
It is Friday, April 17th, and live from Ben's house, this is the Ben Joravsky Show. Today on the program, it's the Rummana Rundown with Chicago Sun-Times editor, Rummana Hussain. And now your host, Chicago Reader columnist, Ben Joravsky.
Hello, everybody. Ben Joravsky here. We're calling this Ruth's Crisp Gate Friday. Here's why. So I came home yesterday from my twilight walk, and I was feeling all groovy. I call it a twilight walk because I take it at twilight. Duh. It's a lovely time of the day. There's still just a glimmer of daylight. No one on the street, so there's no one for me to duck and dodge as I practice social distancing. Uh-oh, coming too close. Whoosh, cut out in the middle of the street. You know. By the way, that's how I did. I was swerving one day, and that's how I found a $100 bill on the sidewalk. Only it wasn't really a $100 bill. Well, that's a longer story for another time. Anyway, it's a great moment of the day. A lot of times when I'm walking, this is after the show, and I'm just getting all that just like bottled up energy out. I sing songs to myself. Yeah, I'm like singing to myself. Nobody's around. Nobody can hear how bad I sing.
Yeah, you think no one's around, but I bet there's people around going, what the
hell is this weird guy? And I'm like, so that's why I was singing. It's a beautiful morning. Da, da, da. And I'm just getting in a real nice groove and just thinking, that was a good show today. And that was pretty funny with the leaf blower. Well, that was yesterday's. We did a bonus episode. And while I was interviewing the guy, the leaf blower was blowing leaves. And anyway, it was just a funny little thought, and I'm chuckling as I think about it and just going, life's pretty rough with the pandemic, but, I'm going to look on the bright side of things. And I come home just feeling all blissful and groovy, and what do I find? My wife is on a rage. She's saying stuff like, those mother beeping Ruth's Crisp. Now, usually my wife is cool, calm, and collected. Last thing I expect to hear her say is, mother beep and Ruth Crisp. But man, there was like steam coming out of her ears, and between the bursts of expletives like, those mother beep and Ruth Crisp, she told me the tale. The thing that got her so mad. She'd seen an article. The article was circulating all throughout the internet about Ruth's Crisps.
Is it crisp with a P at the end?
Ruth's Crisp. But I like to put the P on the end for reasons I'm not quite certain of. It's Ruth's Crisp. I actually know this place. I went there once with the bowling team. Remember, D? We chowed down on huge chunks of steak.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get invited. I remember that.
Yeah, you did you? Anyway, that's a story for another time. So it's a giant chain of steak restaurants with hundreds of restaurants and dozens of locations all over the country. And it had received $20 million in a federal loan program that was intended for small businesses like the one my wife owns. And yes, I must point out that the line of objectivity has been erased for this particular tale. Let's just say it's been obliterated because I'm living with my wife. I understand when she's angry, and she's justifiably angry. By the way, I don't even think that line of journalistic objectivity really exists, to tell you the truth, but that's a longer story for another time. The point is, my wife runs a small business. It has 2 employees. Thus, I think it qualifies as a definition of a small business. Ruth Chris, as I said, is a chain, a big business chain, which has about 5,700 employees. So, if I'm just being an objective observer and I'm determining which company is literally more of a small business than the other, I would do this. I'd say, okay, you got the steakhouse chain, 5,700 employees, and you have the hair salon, 2 employees. Now, I'm no wizard in math, but let me do the math. Hold on, D. Give me time. 1, 2 employees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And, I think the 5,700 is more than the 2. So the hair salon is much more eligible, in my humble opinion, for a federal program intended to help small businesses. But guess who got the loan? Yep, Ruth Chris got the loan, $20 million, and Ben's wife, 0. Hence the rage. Those mother beep.
I'm so glad you're editing yourself. That's a lot of
cursing. Yeah, there was a lot of cursing last night. Anyway, my wife was by far not alone in this. The story about the Ruth Chris giveaway was ran in the Wall Street Journal, and that article was circulating all over the internet. People everywhere were enraged. Husbands all across the country were walking home after a delightful, blissful walk through the twilight to find their wives raging. Those mother babe. Or maybe it was the wife who came home to find the husband. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, people were outraged. I did the deep dive, started reading about the program. It came out of the so-called CARES package. We all know that, the $2.1 trillion stimulus bill, or relief bill that Congress passed, part of an agreement between the White House and Nancy Pelosi. $2.2 trillion. It was $349 billion subset of the $2.2 trillion CARES program was set aside to help small businesses. They called it, what did they call it? Just lost care. Oh, payroll protection plan. Yes, the payroll protection plan intended to help businesses like my wife's and many others just like it. So you would say, well, how could Ruth Chris get on the deal? I know I put that P there. It's not just them. Potbelly was in it too. Potbelly, another giant chain, got $10 million. Now, I remember when Potbelly was a little shop on Lincoln Avenue, just south of Belden on the north side of Chicago. This is many, many years ago. I used to go there all the time. There was a one store. And the owner, the guy who created it, would be behind the counter. Remember very clearly, they had a jukebox. They let you play the jukebox for free. And I remember listening over and over to Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin, a song I loved a lot. It was on the jukebox. I just loved going in there, get the sandwich, put on Mac the Knife. Oh, the sharks. Anyway, ancient memories. Because a long time ago, that original owner was bought out, and it's now a conglomerate with, I don't know, dozens of locations. I see them in airports across the country. And they have 6,000 employees. Somehow or other, they got $10 million of this program. So, how are these giant chains worthy of a program intended for small businesses? Easy. They or their lawyers read the fine print in the bill. And in that fine print is a provision that protects restaurants, provided they have no more than 500 employees at any location. So you can have, let's say, 450 employees at 1,000 different locations. That means 450,000 employees total. But if they're not more than 500 in one location, you can apply for the money and still be eligible for a program intended to help small businesses like my wife's. Yes, it's like my good friend Milo once said, every system has a system, and if you know the system, you can play it. It's a scam, ladies and gentlemen. Paycheck Protection Program is a scam. It's an acronym. CARES is an acronym for Beep You, Ben's wife. No,
all of this cursing.
There was a lot of cursing when I came home last night, believe me. Anyway, it kind of reminded me of another scam that I write about from time to time, Chicago's TIF program, and that's the one in which, again, one more time, the city sets aside hundreds of millions of dollars in property tax money each year to help low-income, blighted neighborhoods. But thanks to a loophole in the program, most of the money goes to neighborhoods that are neither blighted nor low income. Every now and then, the city will kick a quarter to some, I don't know, West Side or South Side entrepreneur, and they'll hold a press conference. They'll make a big deal about it. And they'll say, we are looking out for small businesses on the West Side and the South Side, for entrepreneurs on the West Side and the South Side. Like Chicago really cares. There's that word again. Meanwhile, the millions just keep going to the richest, non-blightiest communities. And then we get a pandemic. We realize that residents in black neighborhoods, black people are dying at a higher rate than white people. And everybody's scratching their head like, how could this be? How could this possibly be? It's like, we didn't know. We're surprised. We're shocked. The system is rigged, everybody, as I find my inner Donald Trump. Now I'm just thinking about that. All the people protesting yesterday in Michigan, Operation Gridlock. They thought Donald Trump was going to drain the swamp. Looks like the swamp is as swampier as ever. Just ask my wife. We got a great show today, everybody. Rummana Hussain will be here doing the Rummana Rundown every Friday or every other Friday. She comes on and does the rundown. Plenty of stuff to talk about, political stuff to talk about with Rummana Hussain. But before we do that, the young man from Alton, the man they call the doctor, with the news.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Dennis. All right, we have quite a bit of Chicago and/or Illinois audio to play for all of you this afternoon. But before we do that, who would have thought I would be saying this? We got to talk about Dr. Phil. You ruined your life. Yeah. Or Mr. Phil, as he's now being called online. Phil, actual name Phil McGraw, was on Fox News. He was asked about the pandemic happening at the moment, and he spoke out against all of the stay-at-home orders going on around the country. I have a little bit of audio here. Will Dr. Phil be at the next Operation Gridlock protest? I don't know, maybe. Let's do the audio. Like to hear it? Here it go. Take it away, Dr. P.
250 people a year die from poverty. And the poverty line is getting such that more and more people are going to fall below that because the economy is crashing around us. And they're doing that because people are dying from the coronavirus. I get that. But look, the fact of the matter is we have people dying. 45,000 people a year die from automobile accidents, 480,000 from cigarettes, 360,000 a year from swimming pools, but we don't shut the country down for that. But yet we're doing it for this, and the fallout is going to last for years because people's lives are being destroyed.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I wouldn't be the first to point out that his numbers are off. So he exaggerated the deaths from the swimming pools and the car accidents, et cetera. We've talked about this before. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so it's a disease that spreads from one person to another. So if you want to limit the destruction of the disease, what you do is you limit the interaction of one person to another. And it's a very dangerous disease, particularly for older people, people who have asthma. And so, yeah, unless you're just willing to accept the fact that people can get really sick and many people can die and you don't know who, like, the wheel will touch on, then, yeah, just open up the economy and let whatever happens, happens. It's like a very nihilistic attitude to have. So it doesn't make sense from a medical standpoint for what Dr. Phil is saying. It's really a political point he's making. And the political point is that there is an objection to closing down the economy and hurting the economy at the very moment when Donald Trump is running for re-election and wants to use a strong economy as his narrative to get re-elected. And so it's not looking out for the best interest of the country, it's looking out for the best interest of Donald Trump. I want to make a concession on this point, D. I think that Democrats would be in a similar situation. If it was a Democratic president who was running for re-election, and he or she had to deal with the epic catastrophe that we're facing right now, the fallout from a pandemic, which includes the possibility that we're heading into a depression because we're having to shut down the economy to protect people's lives. Yeah, they would be concerned, Democrats would be concerned that their president would not get too much of the blame. And so I think what would happen, I hope what would happen, is that you would have a rational president, a logical president, who would somehow or other assure the country that he or she is putting their health interests first, their most immediate health concerns first, without worrying about whether it's going to impact his or her poll numbers, whether he wins like the swing states of Michigan or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania. I would think that's what the president would do, the Democratic president would do, and address the immediate concerns, the immediate health concerns, and not worry openly about how it's impacting his or her reelection. But that's not what's happening with this president. This president is putting his reelection concerns ahead of everything else. And so that's why I'm having a really hard time taking seriously like the people, Operation Gridlock people, the protesters in Michigan, and Dr. Phil, because it seems as though they're putting the reelection interest of President Trump ahead of our larger health interests.
By the way, what'd you think of my Dr. Phil impression?
I thought it was really good.
It's not bad, right? You ruined your life.
I have a confession to make here, D.
Yeah?
I was never a huge Dr. Phil fan.
No.
So, but I have this vague memory. Wasn't he affiliated with the Oprah show?
Yeah. He was one of the Oprah lackeys.
Yeah, so it's interesting. He's drifting into Trump territory here with, going on Fox TV. Did you say he was on Fox?
Yeah, he was on Fox.
Yeah, he's sort of drifting into Trump territory.
It was always one of those shows that, like, it was just always on, like, when I was growing up, and I would watch it, and I realized it was just the same thing. Like, Dr. Phil was like, he didn't do much. He'd be like, all right, show this video here, and they'd show a video of, like, their story. And then they'd come back from the video, and he'd look at, you have ruined your life. We'll be right back. And then they come back, and they show another video, and the next person, you ruined your life.
Yeah. Wait, while we're on this, can you just do your Alex Jones imitation?
What, my Alex Jones imitation?
Yeah, he just, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if we've done this one. We've probably done this at one point or another.
Not in the attic. Tell your wife, it's not Alex Jones up here. It's just Dennis. Ladies and gentlemen, we found the documents. There's fluoride in the water. There is fluoride in the water. Armageddon's coming soon. We'll be right back, everybody. And it goes to the commercial. And right now, get your water filtration system from InfoWars. Dude's making bank, man. Yeah, love him or hate him, dude's making bank.
Well, there's some similarities between Alex Jones and Donald Trump. But by the way, there was an article in the where was I read that? I think it was in the New York Times about Michael Savage, the right-wing talk show host who's cornered the market being anti-Rush Limbaugh, anti-Sean Hannity. He's the conservative talk show host who's saying it is real and that we should take precautions and that we should hesitate to open up the economy. So he's like cornered the market on like the right-wing area. Like he's like trying to talk to the Operation Gridlock people. No, this is real. But he's trying to tell them to do two things at once. You could still love Donald Trump and vote to reelect Donald Trump, but you should also take precautions. He's the anti-Dr. Phil. Michael Savage. Anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen.
No, but that's the priceless thing about Dennis's imitation of Alex Jones. So he does the Alex Jones imitation, then boom, right to the sales pitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, every time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're all Armageddon is upon us. We'll be right back. Right now, get your survival seeds from InfoWars. Like, damn, I got to get some of those seeds.
Survival seeds. Yeah, sounds good for dinner.
All right. Now let's talk about the local news here. And Ben, who knew there was so much comedic material during a pandemic? My goodness, we've been getting a lot of we have more Lori Lightfoot stay home ads to play. Those are hilarious. Yeah. But it looks like J.B. Pritzker, our Illinois governor, is getting involved in this as well. First off, yes, today at the Thompson Center at 2:30, our Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker, will be giving his COVID-19 daily press conference. Go check that out for the latest information. Go check it out. But J.B. Pritzker, I guess he watched these Lori Lightfoot videos and was like, I can be funny. So we have J.B. Pritzker spot to play here. He filmed this. Have you seen this, Ben?
No, I've not seen this.
He filmed this in the shed. Well, you're still not going to see it because we're just going to play the audio, but you're going to hear it. He filmed this in the shed aquarium. So this commercial features Mr. Pritzker's penguins. There's penguins in the video.
Oh, they like going.
Oh, those are penguins, huh? Wow.
That's more like seals, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a seal.
They're penguin seals.
Yeah, please get all the latest information from J.B. Pritzker, not us. Do that penguin noise again. Yeah. All right, so let's play this latest ad from JB Pritzker here, featuring penguins, and there's going to be a school of fish. I gotta, describe things because you can't really see it. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a school of fish, and JB Pritzker goes, "Oh, hey, what is this, Lollapalooza?" Good times. Check it out.
Remember, we've got to stay indoors, stay inside, because you're doing your neighbors, your friends, your grandparents, everyone a favor.
But if you need to leave your house, make sure you're 6 feet apart. And that means everyone. All right, now
This
6
way.
feet apart, everyone.
Hanging with the penguins.
Come back. Nice job, Wellington.
Wellington, the penguin.
What is this, Lollapalooza?
Good
All right, too many of you together. Schooling groups of 10 or less. Break it up. Remember, wash your hands before and after you eat. 20 seconds, both times.
But be careful not to touch your face right after you do it.
These are my friends, the garden eels. They're staying in. You should too. Now more than ever, we all need to do our part to support our communities. So let's be all in, Illinois.
Well, I got a couple thoughts about this. I had not heard this until you played it. Got a couple thoughts about it. First, it was pretty fun. I like the Wellington part. But a couple thoughts. Number one, I got a feeling there was a meeting behind the scenes at the Pritzker campaign offices or the Pritzker governor's office or whatever going, how come Lori Lightfoot's getting all the credit for, we got to get on this too, JB. So they came up with their own funny versions. We're funny too. And, because Lori Lightfoot was on Trevor Noah, right? Trevor Noah had her on talking, and she got to promote her sense of humor. So now JB wants it on the act. But
JB wants to do a type 5.
But the contrast, of course, is to the political fallout, the political campaign that's emerging from the Trump camp. And we saw that on full display yesterday with Operation Gridlock in Michigan, where 1,500 cars descended upon Lansing, the capital of Michigan, and to protest the stay-at-home. They were doing it cautiously, as I pointed out yesterday. They did not get out of their cars, except for a relative handful of them got out of their cars, but most people stayed in their cars.
I love Trump too much. I got to get out of my car.
Yeah, just the real hardcore Trump guys got out of the cars, but some of them were wearing masks. I know that. Some of them were carrying Confederate flags, etc. I kind of realized, Dee, that everybody's sacrificing, and I thought about this after we did the show, is that Trump supporters are missing out on something that they really enjoy, those Trump rallies. Before the pandemic, Trump would have like a couple a month, I want to say.
Yeah.
He would go to a swing state or like a Florida. He loved going to Florida.
And those daily press briefings just aren't the same.
So this is their way of saying, we want to recreate, that moment where he bashes certain politicians, generally Democratic women, and so then everybody gets a chant, lock them up, and then he bashes the press, and everybody gets to chant fake news, and then he bashes the Chinese, and then rips Nancy Pelosi, and whatever Democrat happens to be in the headlines at the time, he'll rip them, and so it's sort of like their way of just getting back to the good old days. I mean, it's sort of like Bulls fans who are really suffering right now because there's no basketball. So I should say basketball fans. Bulls fans sort of got a break that their season came to an end.
We should just say Ben is suffering.
The only Bulls fan in Chicago that's suffering. But basketball fans in general are suffering because there's no basketball.
I saw someone post last night, one of my friends. They're like, there was like a game of horse or something going on, and Mike Conley won, and I thought, good Lord, it's mid-April, and the only basketball we could talk about is some stupid game of horse.
No, it was around that whole tournament, and Zach LaVine made it to the finals. It was the most exciting thing for our Bulls fans.
Well, if my Uncle Eldon knew this was going on, he'd school all of them. He's great at horse.
Give
me the ball, little Danny.
Well, yeah. All right. I'm gonna avoid taking the horse discussion. So it's sort of like the equivalent of basketball fans looking forward to this new Michael Jordan documentary that's about to drop on Sunday. Unfortunately, I will not be able to watch it because I do not have ESPN. I don't have cable, so I'm like, I have to wait till May when it comes on Netflix. So the price I pay. Anyway, so that's what, you don't have the real thing, so you just do with what you got. In the case of basketball fans, it's a documentary about a great team from 20 years ago. And in case of Trump supporters, you create your own rallies, just without Trump. But Trump's he's no dope. First of all, he probably instigated the rallies, or some of his allies and aides. Or it's part of a larger strategy. But he himself today, right before he went on the air, I noticed that he was calling on supporters in states, and it was very clear which states he picked: Michigan, Minnesota, and Virginia, to go to confront their governors who have imposed stay-at-home orders. So it's like totally, again, undermining the whole message that someone like Pritzker is sending out, which is we need to stay at home. We need to do the equivalent of a show from an attic.
We need to get a pet penguin. Man, those things are cool.
Because it's safety. There's health considerations at play. And so you have competing interests here. On one hand, you have Pritzker trying to promote the notion that this is a serious pandemic, and you could die, or you could lead to the death of somebody else if you go out and just break from the quarantine. And then you have Donald Trump suggesting, well, it's all sort of a political show put together by Democrats to undercut him. And so he's getting his supporters to rally around the notion that we should end it. And I don't know, D. I mean, this is of all the confrontations of the Trump era, potentially the most dangerous, because it's not just about wrangling over who gets what, like I just talked about in the CARE bill, where they write the fine print makes sure that restaurants, big-time operations, can take advantage of a program intended to help small businesses. That's a scam, yes, and it's outrageous. But the other thing, like trying to undercut the message that the health experts are sending out, could expose people to the virus, so we could keep the pandemic going. So it's a very scary time on many levels. So here you have J.B. Pritzker trying to be funny and clever and, promote like larger health interests.
That Lollapalooza joke was awesome. What is this, Lollapalooza? Get out of here.
Yeah, he's trying to be funny about it, which I can appreciate. Wellington the Penguin, right? And then you have Donald Trump saying, don't believe him. So mixed messages, lots of mixed messages.
Yeah, we're all confused. What do I do? I don't know. All right, we're going to talk about Lori's latest Stay Home Save Lives / Census 2020 video. But man, the live stream chat is killing it. I was going to wait till the end of the segment, but let's just go to the live stream chat now. First off, our good friend Jim Irwin. Jim, what's up, dude? Thank you so much for finding our show and listening. He says, Lori Lightfoot on TV right now talking about smokestack demolition. Jim, I appreciate that, but don't go telling people to stop listening, all right? Go watch it later, everybody. Shout out to Jim. And Fred is on he joined the live stream chat yesterday. He's back for more, Ben. We didn't scare him away.
No, Fred, yeah.
And Fred's awesome here.
He's a Curtis Mayfield fan.
Fred says, big penguins become big penguins when little penguins are allowed to grow.
Big problems become big problems when you let small problems sit.
Yeah.
Man, those good old days. That was from a budget speech, as I recall, right?
Yeah.
Remember those budget speeches?
Remember the studio? Not this attic?
I'll tell you what. I was just talking about this. Dennis loves the attic, man.
I'm warming up to it.
Did you get your coffee today?
Yeah.
Oh, good. You got your coffee? Yeah. You got a little something to eat there, too? Yeah, you're okay. My wife makes some peanut butter sandwich. Life is good for Dennis, all right? The other day he was complaining, could you just cut I don't like the crust. Could you take the crust? Yeah, just take the crust off.
I mean, there are times when I do get a little upset, like when the leaf blower comes to your house.
All right, let me just say this. We did a bonus show yesterday. Mark Garino came on, a writer for the Washington Post and my beloved Chicago Reader, and he had done a beautiful essay to paying homage to John Prine, the great singer-songwriter who died last week. So I'm a John Prine fan. I thought it'd be a good idea to do a bonus segment where we talk about John Prine's great songs, his legacy, et cetera, and so forth. And so right in the middle of of our interview, some guy with a leaf blower right outside our window.
And I'm like, we're not doing this interview until the leaf blower's done. You're like, oh, man, come on, let's do it. Like, dude, we can't be doing an interview with the leaf blower going on the entire time.
Somehow or other we did. We had the leaf blower going. We're
pros here, guys.
The brown line roaring by. We had the Metro going by.
Was that a penguin?
Yeah, it was a penguin driving a train. And then Mark's dog started barking. Remember that, D? We had the dog barking, the leaf blower guy, the train. It's a great interview, though.
Yeah.
It's a great interview.
I almost just quit. Said I'm done. But no, it went well. Go check out that interview. So for anybody listening right now and they listen to that, listen for the leaf blower.
Yeah, and the dog. You'll hear the dog really clear. It's a couple points. Ruff, ruff.
Brianna weighed in on your penguin imitation, by the way. She says, wow, Ben's penguin noise sounds like opening that rusty gate at my family farm back home. Oh, that was Kyle who said that. Sorry about that. That was Kyle who said that.
I don't really know what a penguin sounds like.
Not that. I can tell you that.
It's more like a seal. I just started doing my seal noise. But JB's a little late on the jokes. You know what I'm saying?
I wish you would have ran that penguin noise by me there on the pre-show prep.
Yeah, it does sound like a creaky gate now that I think about it. A little late on the jokes. Maybe if he'd done that joke before Lori did her jokes, he'd have been on the Trevor Noah show. Huh?
And speaking of Lori Lightfoot, she just released, it was probably like 2 days ago. I don't know. We're kind of behind. Time's crazy, all right, in the attic. But we got the latest Stay Home Save Lives video from Lori Lightfoot. And in this video, she adds in also, hey, fill out that census. You got nothing going on. So this is about 1:30, a little extra than that. Ben, let's take a listen to this and weigh in with your thoughts.
Hello, Chicago.
Hi.
Me again. I'm Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and I'm back with some help on some fun things you can do while you're staying home and saving lives. Chicago in the springtime. Get some fresh air by checking your mail. Oh, look, my 2020 census form came. Travel around the world, wide web, and learn a foreign language online. Es hora de completar su censo. Start a puzzle you'll never finish, but be sure to finish your census. Video chat with your friends so they remember what you look like. Cook up your own Chicago-style pizza. And when that all goes wrong, support local restaurants with takeout or delivery. Delicious. Filling out your census is another way to support our city and make sure that we get our slice of the billions of dollars in federal funding. Come on now, take the 2020 census. It's fast, like less than 10 minutes fast. And it's vital to directing federal funding to all of our communities for things that we know are important and ensuring that we've got fair representation in Congress. So really, there's no better time than right now. While you're staying home and saving lives, take the census survey. Please, make yourself count.
I like that line, we get our slice, just after she got the pizza. Listen. Lori's feeling this funny bit. By the way, she said...
catch her at Zany's when it opens back up.
For things to do when you're staying at home. Did she... in the longer version of the commercial, did she mention getting a haircut?
Oh, but her hair did look really nice in that video. I say it was worth it. It looked great.
Mixed messages from Mary. No, I know you're not supposed to talk about her haircut. By the way, I'm going to ask Rummana Hussain about the haircut because, we really didn't take the deep dive in Lori's haircut. And that was the story from last week. It was Lori got very mad when Mayor Lightfoot, I should say, got very upset when people asked her questions about getting the haircut. So after imploring people to stay at home, she went out and she brought someone in her house to get a haircut. Remember, the joke was, it's not a necessary thing to get your hair colored. And then she got the haircut.
Yeah, that was last week. In pandemic time, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, But she's back with the funny commercial. So it's good. Again, it's obviously it works. People like it. People clearly like Lori Lightfoot, D. And I'm going to tell you something. If you get in the business of making fun of mayors that people in Chicago really like, you're going to get yourself a lot of enemies, all right? I can just tell you about that from my own personal experience dealing with Richard M. Daley in the 90s and the early O's. A lot of people just fall in love with their mayors here in Chicago. They love a powerful mayor. They just view the mayor as sort of like the mother or father figure, the person who's protecting them, and they don't like it when you make fun of their mayors. So I'm not really going to try not to make fun of Lori Lightfoot for getting that haircut and then telling us to stay at home and order in, et cetera, and so forth. But yeah, very important to fill out the census form. That's another political game that goes on. The more people that live in Chicago, the more money Chicago can get from the feds. And very important, we're going to pay our bills. We're going to be having huge financial obligations to confront. We talk about this a little bit with Jeff Johnson when this pandemic passes, because there'll be less in sales tax, utility tax, et cetera, and so forth. So it's very important to get as much of the federal money as we can and not let it go to the Potbellies and Ruth Chris. Haven't forgot that of the world. So, yeah, funny stuff from Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah, guys, forget about everything before the quarantine. Lincoln Yard. She's funny.
Yeah, forget about Lincoln Yards, everybody.
She's funny, guys. Shout out to Kyle. Kyle asks, Dennis, you're not going to replace that Lori ding with the Lori piano keys from this census commercial? No, I like the last one.
Ding, ding.
I'm keeping that one. Okay, moving on. And, oh, by the way, Ben, so what do you think about, okay, stay home, save lives. All right, we get that. What do you think about her Census 2020 twist?
Yeah, she was tying the two together. It's very important. Again, like I said, it's very important to get people to fill. I filled out my form. I did it before the pandemic, I want to say.
Oh, overachiever over here.
Whoa. Maybe I didn't. I mean, now that I think about it, the pandemic's been going on for quite a while. I think it's been a month, D. We've been in the attic for a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good God.
The 17th, I believe. No, the 18th was our first
show, right? Show was the 18th. Yes, you're right. Last show at the studio was the 17th, and we didn't have guests. So, it was like, what, the 13th was the last time we had guests in the studio. So it has been a long time. So I don't know when but I did fill out my census form. I sent it in. I was very dutiful about it. And very important to send in those census forms. Chicago's going to need a lot of federal assistance because we're going to be facing some huge obligations. So, yep, it's a nice message that she makes. But as I said, we're heading for a larger political fallout because the other side is making a different political message, and that is you don't have to stay at home. There is no imminent threat. It's no worse than swimming accidents or car accidents or cigarette deaths, which is interesting, by the way. I mean, there are things you could do to limit the number of people who die in car crashes. I think I may have mentioned this. I mean, the federal, it's like you have safety belts in part to protect people from. So it's not like you just throw your hands up in the air and go, oh, well, everybody dies every year by car accidents. Oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it. So I don't either believe in the science or you don't. You either believe that doctors are giving you sound advice that will protect you and your loved ones, or you just have this nihilistic attitude that the world's coming to an end anyway. You're going to die anyway, so get back to work and vote for Donald Trump.
Either one or the other, guys. Yeah. All right. Shout out to Jay Marie. Jay Marie, what's up? Welcome back to the Ben Joravsky Show live stream chat. It's always great to have you around. Okay, let's get to these videos here that I have. I found these on Twitter when I was on Lori Lightfoot's Twitter feed. And I guess somebody in the city, I don't know, reached out to Chicago musicians, maybe tweeted it, and asked for their rendition of Sweet Home Chicago, the Blues Brothers classic, Sweet Home Chicago. Ben, how's that sound?
Sweet Home Chicago.
That song.
Yeah.
I guess they asked people to give their rendition of Sweet Home Chicago, but instead, Stay Home Chicago.
Okay.
All right. I have quite a few videos here. I believe I have like 6. It's crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to play these videos. We have different versions. We have acapella, acoustic, some hipster made a beat and sang over it. So we're going to play all of these, and Ben Joravsky, you're going to pick which one's the best. How about that? It's like Star Search on the Ben Joravsky Show, right?
What's the other one? The first one. I want to be like Simon.
Oh, Simon. There we go.
Remember how mean Simon was?
Yeah,
he was the mean guy. What was
Brutally Honest. American Idol.
American Idol, yeah. I saw the episode, the season in 2007, I want to say.
Yeah, well, do your Simon Cowell.
Fixed.
Let's just lose all these British listeners we got, Let's go for it. All right, so our first musician is a gentleman by the name of Nate Cox. He sent this video over to Twitter. It's his version of Sweet Home Chicago, but Stay Home Chicago. Live stream chat, weigh in, please. Give us let's get your votes in. All right, we'll do a little live voting here. Here we go. Nate Cox with his acoustic rendition of Sweet Home Chicago.
She said no, Lori won't let me go.
I knew you'd like this.
I'm at home because Lightfoot won't let me go. I know there ain't no more snow, but still, stay home, Chicago.
That was number one, Nate Cox. And for those wondering, yes, he's a hipster. I saw it on the Twitter. What'd you think of that one, Ben?
Well, okay, I'm gonna do Randy. Remember Randy? There were like a bunch.
Hell yeah, I remember it. Come on, dog.
I like it. I like it. I like your style. I like a lot about it. I like where you're going. I like it. Keep at it. I mean, yeah, good. What was the lady's name on the original judge? She was
Paul Abdul?
Yeah, Paul Abdul. I love it.
Wow, okay.
Could you imagine if Ken Davis was one of the judges? By the way, Kenny D's coming on the show. I got to cut a deal with him.
Almost as good as your penguin impression.
The penguin loves it.
Somehow it's getting worse and worse, this impression you did. All right, so we heard Nate Cox, his acoustic.
By the way, it didn't sound like Sweet Home Chicago.
No, it's their rendition. They're doing like cover songs, you know?
That sounds like, okay, I don't get that break when I start singing my songs.
No.
Like, it's a beautiful morning, stay home, Chicago.
Now, obviously, I've listened to all of these, so this next one we're about to hear is old producer Dennis's pick for the winner. Oh. This feller's name is David, I'm having a Ben moment here. I can't read my own handwriting. David Blamiers. I mean, like, if David Blamiers is listening, sorry if I butchered your last name. This is David Blamiers and his rendition of Stay Home Chicago, accordion style.
Oh.
Come on, baby, I don't want you to go. Come on, baby, I don't want you to go. Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago. Stay home if there's nowhere that you need to go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, stay home.
Hell yeah.
Hang low in your place today, yeah. Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago.
Give him the prize, David Blamiers.
I loved it. That was my sign.
Oh, whoa.
I loved it. By the way, I'm getting it all mixed up because of my British accent. I've been watching this show, Giri Haji. It's on Netflix, which I'll be talking about Rummana, saying I'm really into this show. It's a Japanese detective goes over to England to solve a murder. Anyway, it's on Netflix. It's really good if you're into detective shows. So I got these British accents on my mind. Remember, what was the one I was doing for the longest time?
Mick Jagger, the Cockney.
No.
Broadchurch.
Broadchurch. Anyway, I love this guy. Yep.
Okay.
I like the accordion. I like the freedom. He just let it go. You know, he didn't care if he could sing. That's a good one. Like it.
So far, I think we have our winner, but we got a lot more to go here. All right. That was David Blamiers' accordion version of Stay Home Chicago. And yes, Ben's going to sing his version of Stay Home Chicago at the end of all this. Don't worry, listeners.
I didn't know that. That wasn't part of the pre-show prep.
Dude, you showed it was like 5 minutes before the show. We had hardly any time. All right, let's do Mike, I believe is it. Yeah, Mike. Let me try to read this fella's last name. Mike Memon. I butchered that more than likely, but his version is a piano version of Stay Home Chicago. This is pretty good too. I don't know. Maybe not as good as the accordion. I don't know. Live stream audience, please weigh in and we'll decide who the winner is.
I kind of like the hipster dude, man.
Oh, yeah? Lori told me. Catch him at Logan Square. All right, here we go. Piano rendition of Stay Home Chicago.
I don't think it's funny, honey. Hey, ain't nowhere you gotta go. Everybody say, stay home, Chicago. Come on, ain't nowhere you gotta go. Come on, think before you up.
Have you seen this?
What's that?
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Is the guy really playing the piano?
Yeah.
Stay home, Chicago.
Mike Mamone.
That was good piano playing.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know. I mean, I like the accordion guy. He's got a lot of energy. Like the hipster. He's really putting it all in there. But the piano guy is like a legitimate piano player. So I'm kind of leaning toward him. Let's see what Randy has to say.
Oh, yeah. What does give us what Randy, Paula, and Simon, all three, have to say. Now, please explain which impression is which.
They're all kind of merged. I'm just going to have Ken Davis. Got Kenny D on my mind. Anyway, I like that guy. Good piano player.
All right, so far we've had hipster Nate Cox. More hipsters to come in this video. David Blamiers with his accordion song. We had Mike with his piano version. Ben, how about a duet?
That's what we need, a duet. Okay.
Yeah, we have a duet here. This duet comes from Maeve and Quinn.
All right.
They reached out and posted their song on Twitter. Like to hear it? Here it goes. Here's a duet.
Come on, baby, I don't want you to go. Come on, baby, I don't want you to go. Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago. Stay home if there's nowhere like you need to go. Stay home if there's nowhere like you need to go. Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago.
Boom!
I was laughing because Dennis flicked on a light there, just like we were at a real concert back in the day, man. No, good job. Good job. Oh, the harmony, excellent. The piano, the guitar.
Yeah, a little Silver Sun pickups vibe
I
there.
kind of still like the accordion dude, though.
I know, accordion dude's
Accordion guy
awesome.
just let it go, you know. He had like a little Tim Dillon thing going there, and just unafraid to let his freak flag fly. I can really appreciate that.
All right, so we've heard a piano rendition. By the way, you're going to get sick of this song at the end of this segment. We've heard a piano rendition, acoustic guitar. We've heard the duet. How about a band? Huh?
A whole full-fledged band?
It's just a lady and a guy.
Oh, okay.
You know, social distancing. But it's the White Mystery Band. Let's hear what their song.
Hi, I'm Alex White.
Hi.
I'm Francis White.
And
Hey.
we are White Mystery. 1, 2, 3, stay home.
This lady does a solo now, which I'm kind of overdoing it, lady.
Stay home, Chicago.
I like
Oh, that guy sounded awesome.
I like the guitar solo. I give her credit for the guitar solo, but I still go with the accordion guy. That's my guy.
So far, accordion man in the lead. Wow, Ben really likes that accordion version.
Just because you just let it all hang out, man. Why not? You're stuck at home. You can't go anywhere. You're losing your mind. The leaf blower is blowing. Just let it out. It's like me walking at night, singing songs to myself, thinking great thoughts. Nobody's around. Only this guy recorded it and put it on Twitter. So can you imagine me walking down the street and recording
I think it's going to happen tonight. I'm going to get my phone out while you go on your walk, and we're going to record you doing that. All right, so that was the White Mystery Band. Yeah, I guess that was a couple, so that was their version of it. It kind of sounded like the Ramones, the Strokes a little bit, you know what I mean? All right, on to our next one. This one here is a cappella. A cappella.
I got it. Okay.
A cappella from a lady named Crystal Metcalf is her name here. She sent that out to Twitter. Let's see here. It's loading up. So, Crystal Metcalf, take it away with your a cappella rendition of Stay Home Chicago.
Come on, baby, I don't want you to go. Bound, bound, bound. Come on, baby, I don't want you to go. Bound, bound, bound. Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago. Stay home. If there's no way you need to go. Bound, bound, bound.
Oh.
Wow. It's like the...
Yeah, I accidentally interrupted that one. But you get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, one more time. I give it a lot of credit for letting it go and not having any inhibitions. And a couple moments was like, well, okay, all right, but no, that's kind of my Randy. Okay, and then,
Well, you got to say dog. That was always his thing, right?
dog. Okay, dog. What did he call women dogs? Okay, dog.
He probably did. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Paul, I love it. Oh my God! Remember, she would kind of jump up and down, and Simon would be like, I don't know, you rubbish. You know, why? How'd you even get here? And what was the guy's name? Oh, I found him so annoying. Ryan. Remember Ryan?
Oh, Ryan Seacrest.
Oh.
Hi, Ryan Seacrest here. Boy, who are you going to pick? Vote online right now. I like them all.
You have a good Ryan Seacrest. Yeah, so, I like her enthusiasm, but I still like the accordion guy. Do you have another one?
Do I have another one? Jeff says, if I never hear Sweet Home Chicago again. That's so funny. All right. Yeah, we got another acoustic song.
All right. Dylan, like.
Stay home if there's nowhere that you need to go. Stay home if there's nowhere that you need to go. Hang low in your place today. Stay home, Chicago.
I like the guitar playing. You know what? I'm so envious of people who can play the guitar. I've tried it. I actually took lessons once, D, and I just was terrible at it. I flopped at it. And my wife can play the guitar. I'm just envious of people who can play the guitar. By the way, my wife's guitar teacher, we should get him on the show. The guy's very political. Zoe, if you're out there listening, very political guitar player, and he's got a lot of strong opinions. Love to get his thoughts on this. Oh, God, he'd probably be ripping these people. But he's very critical. He was like one of those rock guys who's really critical, you know. Anyway, so, you know, I appreciate the guitar playing, but the accordion guy is still the champ. By the way, do you have a Donald Trump one?
Donald singing "Stay Home Chicago."
No, it would be "Go Out Chicago." Don't believe the hoaxsters. That would be the Donald Trump version. Go out. He's gonna have a press conference tonight and go, "This is what I'm doing to cure you." Meanwhile, go out, get the disease. I'm Donald Trump. Sorry,
Donald
Trump version. Go out, get the disease, and pass it on.
All right, we got two more. Okay, guys, hang with us, live stream audience and downloaders. We got two more. And, well, this one here, our second hipster has sent their song here.
I bet there were more hipsters than just.
Yeah, I'm sure there were more that I just couldn't find.
A lot of hipsters out there. I got nothing against hipsters. I like hipsters. All right. Okay. Just want to get that clear.
Catch Ben at Pitchfork when it comes back. All right, he'll be there. All right, so we got another. This guy made beats. Boy, Radiohead fans, you got your winner.
So come on, baby, you don't need to go. No, yeah, come on, baby, you don't need to go. No, let's keep everybody safe and stay home, Chicago. Right, Stubbs? Yeah. 'Cause 2 doubles to 4 and 3 doubles to 6. Before you even know it, you made everybody sick. So come on,
That's
baby, you don't need to go. Oh no,
Where's my lighter?
let's keep everybody safe and stay home, Chicago.
That's
And just like Radiohead, oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, pal. And just like Radiohead, boy, I'm depressed as hell.
I was going to say it was
after
like a
hearing that.
dirge. It's like Bob Dylan released another song today, D, or he released it last night. I listened to it today. He's getting real dirgy.
Dirgy.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I mean, I like the effort, but no dog.
Oh, that was a good Randy. You're getting better at your Randy.
Oh, dog.
Sometimes I remember he just didn't like it. He would just do that. And it's like, it was rubbish. Okay, Simon.
You gotta say bloody.
Bloody rubbish. Hello, mate.
All right, we got one
right,
final song here. All right, let's see. So we've heard so much variety.
I wrote
here.
them down. I've got them all written down.
We got accordions, pianos, acoustic guitars.
So far, accordion in my book is
that dude's awesome, right?
because he let it go. He just let it go. Tim Dillon. I'm gonna let it go.
All right, we got another duet as our final one. Okay. Let's duet. Here it is.
Come on, baby, won't you stay? Baby, won't you stay at home? Come on, baby, won't you stay? Baby, won't you stay at home? Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago. Now 5 and 5 is 10. That's how this virus spreads. Got to respect that social distancing. Come on, baby, won't you stay? Baby, won't you stay at home? Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago.
I like that one, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah. A cappella again with the hand claps. You know what? That's who I give it to. Right
Oh,
there.
really?
The do they have names? Is there a name?
Oh, yeah. So sorry. This is Carly and Martina.
Well,
hipster with the beat machine. Depressing all of us was Danny E. Harris. And yeah, that's it. That's
all right. Let's get we'll call it a tie between the clappers and the accordion, and we're sending out our Blue Mustang to each one. Each one gets a Blue Mustang.
No one
participating in the great contest, and I appreciate all the contestants. Isn't that what Simon would say? Oh no, he was like rubbish.
There's no appreciation going on with that mean guy.
But I still like Donald Trump's version. Go out, get the disease, and drop dead. Okay.
Way to really lift up those spirits today.
Well, that's our president.
Show.
Go out. Who cares what Pritzker says?
Oh, everybody likes that last one, that duet. They said good harmony. That last one's not bad. KMA, you're implying that all the other ones were bad, by the way, just letting you know. And yeah, that's it. So
I think the last one. Yeah, really. I thought they had the most musical talent, I would say. So I'll give the last one. That's what I'm going with.
All right. That was a little Friday fun. I had fun doing that. Hope everybody enjoyed that. And we're going to keep you posted on the local stories as today's program rolls along. Remember, at about 2:30, if you got your TV on mute and you just see some sign language guy doing their thing and you can't read what they're saying, well, turn the audio on and watch JB Pritzker's daily COVID-19 press conference. We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, it's our Rummana Rundown with Sun-Times editor Rummana Hussain. Guys, you're listening to the Ben Joravsky Show, live from Ben's house. Take it away, David Blamiers.
Come on, baby, I don't want you to go. Come on, baby, I don't want you to go. Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago. Stay home if there's nowhere that you need to go. Oh yeah, stay home. Hang low in your place today, yeah. Gotta protect this place. Stay home, Chicago.
Read the Chicago Reader to get up to speed on what's what in Chicago. Culture, food, arts and entertainment, weekly concert listings, weekly event listings, the environment, travel. I can continue, but you get the point. And for all of you Chicago political junkies, raw weekly columns on real city politics from Maya Dukmasova and our very own Ben Joravsky. The Chicago Reader, free to the public in newsstands throughout the city and online at chicagoreader.com. Read it now and be a more informed Chicagoan.
Welcome back to the Ben Joravsky Show, live from Ben's attic.
Rummana Hussain with me. Rummana, the Rummana Rundown every Friday, or we try to do it every Friday in the Ben Joravsky Show. We didn't do it last Friday, but we got her back right now. Can you hear me okay, Rummana?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, coming through loud and clear. I can see you. No one else can see you. We're doing this on our Facebook phone here. Special Facebook Messenger phone. Works best. Rummana, we've tried every single possible platform for these phone interviews since I moved to the attic. And, well, let's just put it this way. Some are worse than others, and this one seems to be the best one. So how are you, first of all, how are you doing? Are you, you're now into a month into working out of your home. You're a very extroverted person. You like to engage other people, talk to other people. You're friendly. You're outgoing. Are you losing your mind yet?
I don't know if I'm losing my mind. I mean, maybe I am a little. It's Mick's birthday today. Mick is my husband, Mick Dumke. And I told him I had a dream last night that there was all these people in the house for his birthday, but they were mostly my friends. and I told him, I'm like, yeah, I don't know and there was people from work there, and it was just like there was people everywhere. So, and I told them they're mostly my friends. So I'm saying it's just a symbol of me missing people and not seeing them. So it's okay. I think I'm handling it decently, but I have like several, while I'm working, editing copy, I also have several group chats going on with my friends throughout the day. And, every day we're all like, I'm tired of this, I'm sick of this, and, getting updates from people. Cause I have friends who have relatives who were affected by the coronavirus. Right. In fact, right before we got on, a friend of mine told me that her cousin's father-in-law passed away from coronavirus, complications related to coronavirus. And one of her cousins who got it, she's in the medical field. I think she's a doctor in New York. She was doing well, but then she's not doing as well as she was before. So it's maddening because you're hearing all these sad stories and then, trying to stay sane. And one of the things I was talking about yesterday with Mick was, I think the reason why people are getting so exhausted, like me, I'm not a germ freak. I know some people are really, OCD types or just like really, like they're really conscious about germs, and which is good. My mom wishes she kind of pushed it into us because I'm very carefree about that. But, just remembering when you go outside, like you're like, did I touch this? Did I touch that? I'm going outside with gloves, even when it's not that cold outside. So it's like everybody's just kind of, and then, you know, when you're walking, it's kind of like a video game because you're trying to avoid everyone. And I think that just adds like the extra pressure when you're going outside. I went running today and, you know, I was on Sheridan Road and it was like a narrow sidewalk. I couldn't go anywhere. It's the only other place I could go in was the street. And I do try to run in the street, but there's a lot of cars coming and this older man was walking by me and I was trying to go on the edge, but he was giving me a dirty look and I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Like run into the street? So it's like everybody's just so on edge, you know, and I don't know. I don't think I'm someone that's that on edge, but I just feel like I'm always kind of, when I go outside for my walks, I'm like, okay, I got to wash my hands. Sometimes I forget to wash my hands and I go, hurry up, wash your hands. And then I go, wait, did I touch this doorknob? Did I touch that doorknob? And, you know, it just, you know, you just start worrying about things and worrying about whether you're going to infect anybody else. So it's been a challenge, but I'm trying to deal with it. I think our elected leaders aren't telling, you know, I think they're giving us, you know, the stay-at-home orders piecemeal because this could be longer than April 30th for sure.
Well, that brings me to this point. And by the way, before I go here, I have to tell you, when you were recounting the incident with the older gentleman today when you're running, it brought back so many memories over the last couple of weeks of the walks. It's like this silent communication that I do with other people who are coming at me when we're on the sidewalk. I've never vocalized it. I've never said, I'll move here, you stay there. I just do. You know what I mean? It's like a game of chicken. There's two people approaching each other from opposite ends, and so someone's going to have to move. Otherwise, you're going to violate the 6 feet rule, right? So at some point, somebody makes the move. And once I made the move, and then the other person at the same time made the move. So like, that's when I had to, okay, I'll go this way, you go. You know, you don't really want to talk to people when you're walking and doing the social distancing, but sometimes.
Yeah, I try to walk as far as I can. And there was a funny incident last week that happened when I was walking. This older man took off his mask, and then he took off his mask just to tell me, "I see you look like." He said something like, he goes, "Oh, I can tell that you're from India," and I said, "Yeah, you know, my parents are Indian." So it's kind of funny. He just took off his mask to tell me I looked Indian.
Wow.
And I said, yeah.
I could tell you're from India.
Yeah. So I think I saw him the other day, and he was like, "Weren't you looking for an apartment?" And took off his mask again to talk to me.
He really likes you.
Pretty funny. But yeah, so I was telling Mick about it, and he was like, "That's so weird." I'm like, "Well, you're not Indian, so you don't get these questions. It's very normal." But even during the time of coronavirus, I'm getting the "Are you Indian?" comments. But it was kind of funny. It made me laugh.
So, Rummana, you mentioned that the messages that are being put out by our leaders, we just played some more public service announcements. We just played some by Pritzker, where he's being humorous. He's picking up where Lori Lightfoot staked out that humorous turf. And then we also played another, the latest from Lori Lightfoot, was, again, being funny. At the meantime, Donald Trump is sending out the exact opposite message. Today's press conference, I don't know if he was talking about that people in states like Michigan, Minnesota, and Virginia should liberate themselves from their governors who have these restrictive stay-at-home messages. So it's sending out a completely different message. And yesterday, in the state of Michigan, we had Operation Gridlock, which was a protest in which about 1,000 or 1,500 people in cars drove to the state capitol to shut things down and protest the stay-at-home orders. It completely mixed messages. This is in the danger of becoming a partisan issue. It just baffles me why that would be a partisan issue, because this is an issue of safety. I don't like being stuck at home either, and trust me, it's hard to keep me inside. I do try to drop off food at my mom's. That's my social activity, and I do like going to the groceries. But I am considering that how much I like to go outside. I am trying to stay in. So I don't understand that some of the people that were out in Michigan yesterday, it was interesting because some of them had masks on, and then some of them were in their cars. So it's like if you think you're immune to this, just get out of your car and start walking, start hugging each other. I'm just saying it's interesting that it's become a partisan issue,
and they have issues with her name is Gretchen. What's her last name?
Whitmer.
The Michigan
Mhm.
governor.
Yeah.
Whitmer. Yeah. So it's like they have issues with her because she's it's just it's very interesting that it's become a political issue when it's a health issue. And I'm reading some of the comments people are saying. They're like, yeah, we don't believe what the so-called doctors, like Dr. Fauci, is saying. So doctors are becoming so-called, doctors. People who are actual medical health experts are people are denying what they're saying, but they'll listen to President Trump, who doesn't have a degree in medicine. So it's just very interesting. I didn't even get the protest in Michigan. I don't understand why anybody would do that, but there were people on the steps of the Capitol wearing masks, and then they were holding guns too. So, and Confederate flags, and among other things. So it's quite interesting. I find it very interesting that there's this divide, and one of the things that's kind of scary is that there may be that divide. Maybe some states will open up, and obviously everybody wants to be back to normal again. But what if there's some states that have governors who are Trump supporters and they open their borders quicker, and then the rest of us might still be sheltering in place? I mean, we're still all going to be in jeopardy. We're all in this together. So it's just interesting how it's become a bipartisan issue.
Yeah. Well, it's, as I said earlier, the pandemic and the ensuing economic meltdown totally undercuts Donald Trump's message that he was putting out about his presidency and why people should vote for him. And that is because the environment, he's made the country's never been greater, the economy's never been stronger, the stock market's booming, people are working, and suddenly we're facing this recession or depression. And so he's putting out this counter message as opposed to just being the president. And people are picking on it. I can't imagine that this would be an electable issue. I mean, I can't imagine that anybody other than the most diehard Trump supporter would fall for this kind of rhetoric where you're right. It's the so-called doctors are saying this is dangerous, but Donald Trump says it's not, or they'll get Dr. Phil. Dennis played some bits from Dr. Phil. I don't know if you remember Dr. Phil from the open.
Yeah, I heard he was on Fox News. I heard he was on Fox News.
Yeah, he's finding his.
What was he saying?
Well, he was saying more along the lines of stuff that Sean Hannity had been saying several weeks ago, which is they point out people die in auto accidents. We don't shut down the economy because people die in auto accidents. People die from cigarette smoke. We don't shut down the economy because people die from cigarette smokes. And I mean, it's the rebuttal is obvious. It's like, well, one's not a disease that somebody could bring to another person. And we still pass laws to protect people who are driving in cars, and we put messages on cigarette packages so people are aware of the health. So it's like we do things. It's not like we don't shut down the economy. You're right, because people die in auto accidents, but we do make car manufacturers take precaution to limit the carnage from an auto accident. So it's a very,
the airbags. I mean, not to say the airbags is going to save you, but there are precautions that are taken. We in driver's ed, we watched movies about how to drive safely, just so you wouldn't get into those accidents. I think Trevor Noah had a bit where he said that coronavirus, because it's an invisible virus, you don't see it. People just think that it's okay to go outside. He said if there were zombies running outside, would we be outside? So, he said, you need something concrete or, for some people to believe it. And if Donald Trump is saying, and for people who support Donald Trump blindly, and he says, oh, this is no big deal, that's how they're going to think. It doesn't matter who tells you. You can have a Nobel Peace Prize winning scientist telling you stay inside, but they'll still listen to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That's the way it is. And I don't understand it because there's leaders that I admire, but if they told me something I didn't necessarily think was correct, I wouldn't necessarily do that. And it's just this blind following of Donald Trump that just perplexes me. It's one thing if he was this genius, but it's like, I don't know. It's very telling.
Yeah, and Donald Trump has not
I mean,
What's that? Oh, yeah. Donald Trump just
sorry, missed it. No, I missed it.
no. What I was saying, Donald Trump hasn't completely left the planet on this one. Like I said, he's sending out one message where he has these briefings where he's the purported purpose is to keep the country alerted as to what he's doing to protect us, and then at the same time, he's sending out this other message, which is like this is way overkill. But he hasn't completely stopped doing the first part of the exercise, which is saying, okay, pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. And he's still pretending like he's listening to these doctors, the so-called doctors. So it's a very bizarre time. And then we have local leaders. Pretty soon he's going to come after Pritzker. And today he came after Michigan, Minnesota. Yeah, he will come after him again.
But the thing is, he's having these news conferences, but then he's using the opportunity when there are governors who don't necessarily support him have the sort of dissent in terms of protest for the shelter-at-home orders. So he's using it as a political tool when he can to speak out against those specific, elected leaders. That's the way I see it.
All right. Now, as long as we're talking about national politics, let's keep it there. Since the last time we were in the show, I don't think Joe Biden had received the endorsement of Bernie Sanders when you were last on the show. But since then, he's got Bernie Sanders' endorsement. He got Elizabeth Warren's endorsement. He's pretty clearly going to be the Democratic nominee. He wasn't my choice, that's for certain. Rummana, you know that. We've talked about this a lot over the last few months. And at the same time, while he has gained all these endorsements, there is an allegation that has emerged, an accusation by Tara Reade of sexual assault from 1993. I sent you an article to read about this, so you'd be well versed on it. And yet nobody seems on the Democratic side want to talk about it that much. Actually, I'm not seeing a whole lot of talk coming from the Republican side either. More from the Republican side just to make Democrats look bad, but they're not really pounding it that hard. It seems as though most people in this country just don't want to hear this accusation, Tara Reade's story. What's your thoughts about all this?
I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, even before I guess people heard about it in the New York Times, I saw on Twitter a lot of people, obviously a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters, talking about this particular incident or alleged incident that happened. I think it's good to bring it up or question whether it happened. I think the woman's story, I was reading the New York Times columns that you sent over, and but the woman's name is Tara, what's her name?
Tara Reade.
I'm forgetting her name. Tara, is it Tara Reade?
Yeah, Tara, R-E-A-D-E.
Okay, the only reason I'm saying I'm like, is there an actress? And I was gonna say
there's an actress, Tara Reade.
Yeah, she was in the American Pie movies. But anyway, she originally said that he had just sniffed her neck or rubbed her shoulders, and then last year the allegation became more serious that he had sexually assaulted her in a way, and I shouldn't say in a way, sexually assaulted her. And, people saying that her stories have changed. And so, people wonder whether her credibility is all there. So, I mean, I think it's a good question to ask. I don't think people should brush it under the rug, which I think some people are doing. But I don't think it's going to last. I think it's something that people aren't going to talk about. I don't know if it's going to come up during the debate with Trump, but I would think it wouldn't, given that Trump has all these sexual assaults. He has like 20-something women who accused him of raping them. And then, to ask about Joe Biden, I'm sure Joe Biden would have a comeback for something like that. But it's definitely, I think it's something that we, if there are Democrats, if it's something that's brought up, I think you shouldn't ignore it or just pretend that it didn't happen, because I don't think that most mainstream news organizations picked up on this story.
Well, the New
I
York
guess people just don't feel that's credible.
the New York Times sat on it for 19 days. I followed this very closely. The story broke. She gave an interview with I forget who she gave the interview with, but anyway, she gave an interview. So her story was public. It was picked up by Vox wrote about it. There was tweeting about it, as you said. And
I saw a lot of tweeting about it.
a lot of tweet, and then for 19 days, the New York Times didn't mention it. And finally, this week or earlier this week, they came out with a story. They did their deep dive on it, and they've been under criticism, a lot of criticism at the New York Times because it took them 19 days, and they seem to bend over backwards to say that they're not quite sure that there's anything to the story. What guidelines are there that you're an editor? What guidelines are there that newspapers have to confront when they decide whether to write a story about an allegation like this?
I guess you have to be careful, like legally, like when do these allegations get taken seriously? Because I'm not, I'm obviously a woman, so I know that a lot of women do have a lot of, incidents that happen to them. They're sexually assaulted or, people sexually harass them, and they may not necessarily come forward with what happened to them at that time. So I do believe a lot of women, I do think a lot of women have credible stories, but that's not to say people don't make stuff up or can't call. And I think there needs to be some sort of corroboration. So I think if there's corroboration and you hear more than one person saying it, I think that's when you start looking into it and seeing whether this is true or not. I remember in that case where that young kid was pretending he was a police officer. I remember someone called me. I thought it was a joke, and I just ignored it. And then I kept getting calls like over and over again. So I think it's, it might be unfair, but it's the veracity, like whether or not there's more people corroborating the story, or whether somebody like the state's attorney's office is investigating and seeing whether they're actually a case or something they're investigating. Obviously, in a case of Biden's, the statute of limitations is lifted. Mm-hmm. But I think I still think there are good questions to ask, because Joe Biden, when it comes to women and the things that he's done with women, obviously, the allegations we've heard about him, it's not even just allegations. You've seen pictures of him kind of rubbing women's necks and like sniffing their hair. So it's not something, that kind of behavior, I don't know personally. Like if my boss was rubbing my neck, I would go to human resources. And I guess this behavior was accepted for so long. And, and someone like Joe Biden in front of the cameras is like grabbing you, what do? You kind of squirm away. There have been pictures of like, little girls or women squirming away from him. So I think these questions are good to ask. And I think he did talk about them, right, in one of the debates, and said that, maybe I need to, this is what I did, and I was trying, I don't know, he probably didn't get the signals and thought he was being friendly. But it's just a little weird to me. I wouldn't rub any guy's neck, I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I wouldn't rub anyone's neck. I don't believe he dealt with it in a debate, but I believe when some of the stories first broke last summer, he dealt with it with some kind of public statement saying that he operated under a different set of behavior back that was like rooted in they always blame it like, well, I'm old, I guess, and this is how we did it in the past, and I'm gonna change my ways. That's always the excuse, like it was ever an appropriate thing to do, as opposed to something you just felt you could get away with.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. I mean, I do know, I have a colleague at work, I can tell you that much, and she worked on the Hill around that time, or a little earlier, and she told me that Joe Biden, there was a list of congressmen and senators who were a little handsy, and he was definitely on the list. So young women were told, like, hey, watch out for this person. So I'm just saying that a lot of behavior, it's not acceptable, and it wasn't acceptable then. It's just that I guess in some ways, and that in the workplace, those kind of things happen. Women didn't say stuff. Mm-hmm. They felt like they had no where to turn to, and maybe the men made it seem like this is what we're allowed to do this. So I just find it I find it fascinating. I mean, I've been reading the stories, And, a lot of people are saying that a lot of women who are all about Me Too are staying silent on this. So it's definitely interesting.
Well, it does remind
There's
me.
a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it does remind me of, in some levels, Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Things become political really fast. And nobody wants to acknowledge this. No side wants to acknowledge that there's sort of a political game that's at play here. But in reality, there is. And so when Bill Clinton and the story with Monica Lewinsky emerged, there was a tendency of Democrats, to put it mildly, including women, to defend Bill Clinton and attack Monica Lewinsky. And then, was when the Brett Kavanaugh story broke, all of a sudden Democrats were saying, I'm reconsidering how I behaved 20 years ago, but now is now, and I now understand it. Now here we are.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, everybody said, oh, Bill Clinton, I remember when that happened and there was people feeling sorry for Bill Clinton. And now you look back at the story and there's a lot of people realize that this really destroyed Monica Lewinsky's life in a way. Now, I don't want to say that, she's totally incapable of anything, but it really affected her life. I remember reading the interview and she's like, what man is going to take me home to his parents and introduce me to them? So, Bill Clinton has gone on with his life and he gets paid like $300,000 every time he goes speak somewhere. But Monica Lewinsky is forever branded as that woman as he described her. So it is very, that's why I think it's important when women do bring up these allegations, not to brush it under the rug. And just because you believe in one political, if you really revere someone and they're the guy against Trump, it doesn't mean that you have to stay quiet. I think whoever makes a mistake, no matter how much you like them, they are supposed to be held accountable for anything they did or didn't do. That's just my opinion.
Now, as long as you're giving your opinion, and I've always said that you should be a columnist where you give your opinion on a regular basis, I'm going to ask you to weigh in on a story that was about a week old, and it disappeared almost as soon as it came out. And I missed my opportunity to ask you your thoughts on it. And I call it Lori's haircut. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, in the middle of the pandemic, pictures emerged on the internet that Lori Lightfoot got a haircut. And even though she did the public service announcement in which she said, good humor, this is not worthy of leaving the house, breaking, the quarantine, stay at home. And it was interesting because it was a backlash, Rummana, against the reporters who asked her the question. So it was like people.
There were some reporters.
Yeah, go ahead.
There were reporters on Twitter weighing in on it too, and there were Mary Mitchell did a column on it too, defending Lori Lightfoot, and there's definitely a good defense. People in the sense saying she's the face of the city of Chicago, but at the same time I think the questions were fine. I don't think it was front page news, but when you're making a PSA and you're telling people you don't need to get your hair touched, she obviously got her hair cut, which is completely different, but she was talking about your hair touched and colored up. She went and got something cosmetically done. And, people like me would probably say getting your hair cut and your eyebrows done or anything else is essential, but it's not at the end of the day. You can just do stuff at home or just let your hair grow out, which I'm doing. But she was saying that I'm the face of Chicago, so I got a haircut, and this woman was wearing a mask and gloves. But then we saw that picture of her standing next to this young woman with. But the thing is, to be fair, I don't know when that picture was taken, but there was a young woman standing with her, who apparently gave her her haircut afterwards. So I think the questions were good. Again, I don't think it was the lead news story, but there was a lot of criticism of people saying, there are African Americans dying disproportionately of COVID-19, which is definitely the case. And people have been doing stories on it. And so a lot of people are like, why are people asking her this when this is the case? They don't care about anything else. And I thought that was a little hypersensitive. I said, hey, if this was Donald Trump and he got a tan and what got a bed, went and got a tan, like an artificial tan in the middle of all this, everybody that has been criticizing people for criticizing Lori would be tweeting about it. That's my opinion. So it's the same thing with the Joe Biden thing. It's like, even if you like Lori Lightfoot, you like the way she's handling the coronavirus situation and doing the PSAs that are really funny, going on Trevor Noah, that's fine. You can cheer for her, but don't you think she should be held accountable for telling the rest of us not to get a haircut or do anything like that, and then going and doing it herself?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think it's a good, fair question. That's my opinion. I know some of my friends feel like it wasn't fair, but I think it's a fair question.
Well, it also shows that if you're going into journalism, you have to have thick skin, because you're going to get, you know this, you've been in the game a while. Someone is not going to like what you say. You know what I mean? One side or another. Someone's not going to like it. They're going to really mad at you. Donald Trump has turned it into a political movement, assailing one segment of the news media, anyone that criticizes him, while applauding another segment that praises him. So it's just a fact of life. You're going to get assailed, and those reporters got assailed, even by other journalists. But I agree with you.
They did.
Totally.
But I do think it's a good question. I don't think there should have been. Okay, there was a question that was asked at news conference. It shouldn't have been asked like over and over again, which I don't think was done the next day. But I think a lot of people are mad because they kept bringing it up. And then Lori Lightfoot brought up the disparity, which got other people mad. And so, I mean, that was her way of being a politician, let's be honest. And everybody else jumped on it. So, and so I just thought it was kind of funny. And, some of my friends, they were pointing out, as an African-American woman, hair is very political, and, it's something, that is culturally presenting your best self. And I understand that. But I've also told you that I don't think Lori Lightfoot cares that much about fashion. So that's just my opinion.
Like I said, she's got a lot of opinions.
No, but I think it was a legit question. I just think it was a legit
Definitely
question.
a legitimate question. And by the way, that'll be the oldest trick. Young journalists out there, you're going to learn this really fast. When you ask a politician, a skillful politician like Lori Lightfoot, she's pretty skillful. She's been in the game a while. She knows how to handle questions. And you ask a skillful politician a question that he or she does not want to answer, there are all kinds of tricks that they will use to either duck and dodge your question or to flip the switch and make you look bad for asking the question. How dare you ask me this question when we're facing, a pandemic? So the whole point of the question is that it deals with how you're handling. Anyway, that's just something young journalists out there learn from Rummana. That's a trick you're going to have to play, and you just got to move on with it. I thought, I've watched this in some of the encounters between the White House correspondents, Rummana, and Donald Trump. Donald Trump plays some of these games too. He has all kinds of ways of counter-punching to try to get the reporter off his or her game, to try to deflect from the question and try to minimize or trivialize the question and make fun of the reporter. And I'm impressed by a lot of these White House correspondents, how they stand up to him. And they won't lie. They just ignore the barb and press on with the question. I think that's the best way to deal with it.
Yep. That's like Fran Spielman, which I know we'll talk about.
Oh, now let's talk about that. Let's give a shout out to Fran Spielman, who is not deterred by any ducking and dodging and counterpunching. Chicago Sun-Times City Hall correspondent, was one of the top 50 most powerful women in Chicago. My objection to that list was Rummana Hussain was not on that list. Yeah. I took every woman who been on the show in the last month and wanted them on the list. But anyway, it was.
Well, Stacey Davis Gates was on there. She's on your show a lot.
Yes. She should have been number 2 instead of number whatever she was, but whatever. That's just me.
And then your boss, Tracy Bain, was on there.
That is correct. She should have been number 3. Okay.
and then Mick's boss is on there too, Louise Kiernan. So everybody seemed to be on. There were people that I knew that were on there. I thought it was a pretty good list. I mean, obviously you have the politicians. You have Lori. Lori was number 1, right? Lori Lightfoot, Tony Preckwinkle. You had Lauren Underwood, Melody Hobson, who's married to George Lucas and, is very powerful on her own. Kim Fox, Amy Campanelli. There was a lot of CEOs on there. We had Laura Ricketts, Mary Dillon from Ulta Beauty. I forgot Ulta was based in Chicago. We had your favorite person on there, Tina Chen. Just because of the Jussie Smollett.
Yeah, my favorite person. They should have had Michelle Obama was not on that list, was she? No, I don't think she was on that list.
No, but now I guess technically she's not from Chicago. I mean, she is from Chicago, but maybe because she's not living here or working here.
Well, if you base power on, like, say, the ability to get a phone call instantly returned or accepted, I think Michelle Obama would be number one on the list. And she still has the house in Kenwood. True. So, and she is from Chicago. She's like literally from, we talk about who's from Chicago a lot. All right, Rummana, can I let you leave without asking you for your recommendations? And I got a recommendation from you, and it's really paying off. Giri Haji, it's a show on Netflix. Yeah. You've watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It's Giri Haji. It's actually, I think it's a BBC production. So it's based in Tokyo and in London. So the show is about this police officer who goes back to London to look for his gangster. He goes to London to go search for his brother who was a gangster in Tokyo. And it's I thought it was pretty good. I know you watched a couple episodes and you're a little skeptical by some of the fourth show, but it's actually pretty good. I thought it was pretty creative. It wasn't a typical gangster movie, and maybe because of the layers that they had in it, and the fact that they kind of took Tokyo and London, and it's, even though it's a British-based production, a lot of the dialogue is in Japanese. So I thought it was pretty cool. I read about it and I recommended it. I told Nick that we should watch it. It was my turn to pick a show, so that's what I picked. And I know we talked a little bit about Tiger King. They had an extra episode. I did not watch that. I heard it wasn't that good, but I did read your column, and which I didn't know was out. Sorry. So I did like the column a lot because I did think it was reflective of our political world today and the way people behave and use other people and even animals to kind of gain power. I thought this show was just crazy, but it was really good. And by the way, you know how we were talking about Joe Exotic and his music videos? So that's not his voice.
That's not his voice?
That's not.
Oh my God! I did not know that. What a scam!
Yeah, I read that.
Oh.
Well, it doesn't really sound like his voice, so I Googled it. I'm like, that does not sound like him. And then it turned out that he was dubbed in all those videos. So that's not.
There you go. He is like Trump.
Really so that wasn't his voice.
I wrote a column about this last week. I don't know if I put it on our Facebook wall, but I do believe it's a political parable for our time, and that the point you picked up on was the way the followers, the blind loyalty they have to their leaders. We talked about this already with Donald Trump, where there's people saying that the coronavirus is not enough of a threat to have a shut-in and stay in, and so we're just going to we want to go back to work, or we want the economy open up right now. There's this blind allegiance, and that's very much a play. Just for the record, Giri Haji, I am loving it. I really enjoy watching it, but it's like most shows. At some point, it goes off the tracks. Most of these shows, and they're just so unbelievable and you just have to say, well,
that's gonna happen. Did you like Breaking Bad?
Did I what?
Did I like Breaking Bad?
No. Breaking Bad was so absurd that I've watched it. Okay. See, it's just like, all right, this is too much.
But you know what? While we're talking about recommendations, did you hear about St. Francis?
What's that?
That's a movie. It's like a smaller indie flick that was filmed in Chicago, and I think it was filmed in Evanston. It's about a young woman who is nannying for this couple, and she ends up getting an abortion. It's talking a little bit about that. It was supposed to play in theaters I think I think it came out like a week and a half ago, and it was streaming through I think the music box. You could buy the film, but I heard good things about it. So
I read the
maybe
same
when
review
everything's
you
normal-
did. It was in the Sun Times. Yes, when you started talking
I
about
read
it.
it
Yeah.
at the Times, and then I read it in the Tribune afterward. But it seemed like a pretty interesting movie. I was going to say, if we were living in normal times, I think I would try to go watch that.
And are you going to be watching the Michael Jordan documentary this Sunday, or that's not on your list?
I'm sure I will. I'm sure my husband will make me watch it. I do like Michael Jordan and the Bulls. I remember that. I interviewed Michael Jordan once.
No, I did not know that.
Oh, well, Ben's jealous.
But it was it was actually kind of cool because he noticed me walking late he was doing something for he does that he does that thing, the charity thing for that school, like Hills Franciscan, I think. It's like a private school, and he does a lot of work with them. So one year, Bob Hergis was my editor at the time, and he goes, "Hey, go to Hills Franciscan, and Michael Jordan's going to be there, so it'd be a good story, good little feature story." So I drive all the way. I think it was on the south side, and I go to the school, and the principal or the woman behind the desk at the office is like, "No, this event is downtown." So I came to the event like an hour and a half later, and I'm walking in all like flustered. And then I started talking to Michael Jordan, and he's like, "Oh, I'm glad he could make it today." So he made jokes about me being late, and so somebody told me, "Hey, Michael Jordan noticed you." So it was cool. I talked to him for a little bit. It was cool.
I think Michael Jordan may like you. That's pretty cool. I hope that's in the documentary. We'll see. Rummana Hussain, thank you so much for taking the time, and stay safe, stay sound, and we'll talk to you real soon. All right, Rummana? All
okay.
right.
Thanks for having me. Have a good weekend.
That's great. Rummana Hussain, Rummana Rundown.
And we have some updates here before we roll out.
Okay.
JB Pritzker is giving his daily COVID-19 update here. We haven't. Wait, hold on a second. Hey, you out there!
Hey, that's my line.
Social distancing. Those fellers out there smoking a doobie.
Oh,
hey, 6 feet.
Are they sharing it?
Good Lord. We got an update here. The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times. Nadir Issa, Fran Spielman, Tina Svandela, as you should have been on the list, Tina, just saying, and Matthew Hendrickson. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is planning to close the state's school for in-person instruction through the end of the academic year because of the coronavirus. The governor and his team have worked through the details of the extended closures this week, and, well, they're looking to announce this decision as we speak. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is fully on board with the move, but isn't expected to attend the news conference with the governor because of a hair appointment. No, I'm just kidding. Scheduling conflicts. Maybe a hair appointment, sources say. Lightfoot on...
Sources say. Sources say.
Sources say.
Which sources?
Lightfoot on Thursday hinted strongly that the decision was coming, but said it was up to Pritzker, and she would like to be part of that discussion.
Well, we saw that coming. We knew that was coming. And then I was talking to Candace Castillo, and they're still talking about bringing out report cards. Talk about mixed messages. Just give everybody a straight A. You know what? The kids are going through so much right now, so much psychological torment. You know what? That's my...
Oh, man, I was such a crappy student. That'd be awesome. Yes, an A!
A's for everyone, okay? Just for dealing with this crisis. All right, there we go. I just settled that.
And before we get out of here for the weekend, let's talk to the live stream chat here. Jay Marie, she's weighing in. She can't believe that you called Breaking Bad absurd. Like, what? Like, she just can't believe that you're not a big fan of Breaking Bad. What's so absurd about it? You like Tiger King. You didn't say that was absurd.
Well, Tiger King is the Tiger King is absurd. It's absurd the way in which people dedicate themselves to these con artists in Tiger King. So there is an absurdity of it. Breaking Bad, I realize that I was not in tune with America in that one. Everybody loved it, and I don't know, Jay Marie. It was one of those things where in a show where the heroes or the villains are so the villains generally are so powerful and smart and demented and evil and just outrageously so that it just defies all anything. It's hard after a while. I find it like an insult to believe it. I know like you have to suspend your disbelief. You have to suspend, with just the obvious norms when you're dealing with these shows. So to a certain degree, I'm doing that with Akiri Haji, this detective show. And then when they go off, what do you call it? Jumping the shark. Isn't that what you say? Or,
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? You went too far. You're asking too much of me. I can go no further. So the dude in Breaking Bad was like such an evil genius, and he was always getting away. Was all right.
Well,
okay.
we've talked about it before. I watched Breaking Bad for like maybe 2 seasons, and it just got to the point where every episode was that Jesse feller going up to Walter White and going, things are hard. My girlfriend left me. They kicked me out of my apartment. My mom just kicked me out. Shut up. Let's cook, you idiot. Let's cook. That's all it turned out. Like Walter White was just a huge jerk, and that was just like that happened over and over again.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, all right, let's cook. I get it.
That's my favorite part of the show is Dennis's imitation. Remember the old days? Dennis, do it again. One more time, please.
Oh, my mom, she broke my skateboard, threw it in the dumpster. She wouldn't even make me oatmeal. Shut up, let's cook, you idiot.
Yeah, that's kind of. And then I did like the spinoff, Better Call Saul. Remember when I was in the band for a while?
Yeah. What happened there? Better Call Saul. It's still around.
Yeah, I found the brother so annoying. I just stopped watching. Here's the thing. I have a confession to make. One of my famous confessions. Mm-hmm. After a while, most of these series, it's like they run out of material, and I go, all right, on to the next one. So. Yeah, but that's the beauty. There's always a next one.
Everybody's got their recommendations now. Jay Marie asks, what about Ozark? Have you watched Ozark?
Yes, I watched about 3 episodes of Ozarks. I thought it was pretty clever. I love Justin Bateman, so I may get back to it.
You called it Ozarks with an S at the end, and then you called him Justin Bateman.
Oh, I did that before. What's his real name?
Ozark, and then Jason Bateman.
All right, yeah, sorry. Sorry, my bad. Ozarks. I like Jason Bateman. He's funny. And so, I might get back to that.
Ozark hits too close to home for me. I used to live in Lebanon, Missouri, which is right in like the Ozark area, Lake of the Ozarks, Osage Beach, and all that. Guys, that stuff's real. Like those people, like that's real. Like,
so do you watch the show?
No, it freaks me out. It makes me feel like I'm back in Lebanon.
You watched one or 2 episodes?
Yeah, I watched like some of one. Like, oh my God, I was getting like flashbacks of people offering me meth.
I may get back to it though. I don't know. There's so many shows.
And Peaky Blinders, someone is recommending. Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
No, I've heard about it. Somebody recommended it, and I looked at the picture, on Netflix where you have the little picture. By the way, guys, don't look at me. It's like when Joe Rogan said, "Don't look at me for recommendations."
It's crazy.
I still watch movies. I still watch old movies.
And hey, everybody on the live stream chat family, Brianna, Pat Rod, Jeff, J. Marie, KMA Barry. Say hey to Fred, all right? Fred is new to the live stream. Oh, that's my phone ringing. Elmhurst, Illinois.
I know someone from Elmhurst.
Probably our guest coming up.
Yeah.
What was Fred? Fred has joined us this week. I think I could tell he listens to the show. Maybe he downloads, and he's taking the deep dive over to the live stream chat. What's up, Fred? Fred, I love your comments. You help make us content on the program. Earlier we were talking about teachers giving all students A's. Mm-hmm. Fred says, yay for our teachers for giving all A's.
Yeah.
Yay for our teachers. Yay for our teachers.
You're fitting right in, Fred.
Yay for Ann Berg. That came next. Yeah, all the good old days. Bruce Rauner. Bruce Rauner was, an easier villain to deal with than the coronavirus. Yeah, give them all A's. God damn, it's hard enough that people give out report cards. Kids haven't been to school in over a month. Give them a report card. Okay. Half of them don't have computers, or a lot of them don't have computers. They can't do their homework anyway. So, just give them A's. Come on.
Hey, have a good weekend, everybody. Stay safe. You guys got any plans? That was a joke. No one's got plans. You're sitting at home. Be safe. Do some laundry. Clean up. Wash your face. Wash your hands, and all that good business. Right, Ben?
Wash your face and wash your hands. Usually it's the wash your hands, but wash your face too.
Oh, and of course, stay home.
Come on, baby, I don't want.
All right, I'm going to say this. Listen, that is David, right, on the accordion.
Yep.
Listen to David. Don't listen to Donald Trump. things are pretty bad politically speaking when I'm saying, listen to the guy on the accordion. Don't listen to the President of the United States. Stay home. Believe in the doctors. Believe in science, folks. Save your life. The economy will come back. We'll be back at work. We'll be out of the attic soon enough, right, D? But
Maybe.
Let's just be... I don't think Dennis ever wants to leave. Oh, these sandwiches are delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, could you cut the crust off?
We're zooming. You be in the studio, I'll be in the attic.
I'll be in the attic, loving the sandwiches. Anyway, a great week of guests, and we still have one more bonus guest to go. Candace Castillo. We'll be reaching out to her in a little while. That will drop on
check out our Benny J. Let's plug those
Saturday,
real quick.
yeah.
We got Candace Castillo on Saturday that we're going to drop on Sunday or Monday. I'm not sure offhand. We got a John Prine special.
Yes,
with
that was,
a writer, and what was his name?
Mark Carino. And Dr. Pamela from Alton, the Alton area.
The downstate doctor. And guys, the jury's still out. I thought we were going to nip at the bud here, the ongoing mystery. Who does downstate like more, Bruce Springsteen or Jimmy Buffett? You can find out the results when we talk with Dr. Pamela.
Dr. Pamela did a great move, on that question. It was the last question. We had this long, serious discussion about the pandemic, about how it's affecting people downstate, and she was once more extolling the virtues of Medicare for all, talking about how important it was, and then right before we close, we threw the Bruce Springsteen question at her. So I guess that'll drop on Monday, and Mark Garino's interview about John Prine will go Sunday, and Candace Castillo, we're going to be taking a deep dive on all the political issues of the day with Candace, and that'll drop on Saturday. So plenty of bonus material. Indeed, there's also all the material. We have over a year's worth of interviews and shows.
We got a deep archive. What can we say?
Yes,
you
we
know?
do.
A year's worth of programs there. Go check them out. I'm sure there's one you haven't listened to. You got nothing going on. Chicago Reader, Chicago Sun-Times websites, wherever else you download your favorite podcasts, subscribe.
Subscribe to our show. One more time, everybody, have a safe, sound weekend. I want to thank the man, the myth, the legend, the pride and joy of Alton, Illinois. And I just want to say this, what everybody in the 618 knows. Back home in Alton, they call
Dennis.
him White Lightning. Give yourself a raise. Take it out of petty cash. See you next week.
So come on, baby, you don't need to go. No, yeah, come on, baby, you don't need to go. No, let's keep everybody safe and stay home, Chicago. Right, Stubbs? Yeah.
That's correct.